Hello, everybody, and welcome to another week, another top 5 list. And as you can already tell from the title, we are talking about the top 5 elite minions in Marvel Champions. And this was another one that was actually pretty hard. As I was digging through it, I was trying to figure out where do I sit, what minions do I loathe to see? Because this is really, at the end of the day, these are the minions that probably are a thorn in my side, just make the game harder, but in a way that I think is just like creme de la creme, the best. And I guess we'll start out with my number 5, which actually is probably a little bit more of a joke than anything, but I absolutely love Card Shark out of the Mojo pack. He is a minion with 1 scheme, 3 attack, obviously creature elite, and 7 health. With the force response, after Card Shark attacks you, discard the top 3 cards of your deck. Take indirect damage equal to the number of different printed resource types discarded this way. And he's got 3 of the boost icons. So what I love about this is just the pun. He is Card Shark. He is literally going to, do 3-card Monty with you, or not 3-card Monty. But he's going to deal you out 3 cards. He's going to deal some damage to you. He's a sizable minion. The fact that he can deal 3 damage and he's got 7 health means that unless you're using your big hero attack, you're not taking him down in 1 turn. He doesn't have tough, which I think is really the deciding factor about why he is maybe more of a jokey minion for my top 5. But as soon as I saw him, I went, I don't know where he's going to fall. I hope he's not an honorable mention, but I know he's going to make it onto the list. He's going to make it into this video somewhere, and I was happy to put him in and just celebrate our best boy. Next up, we have Armadillo, who is a minion with 1 scheme, 2 attack, 8 health. He's a brute, he's elite, he's got toughness, and Armadillo can have any number of tough status cards. With the force ability, with the force response of, after Armadillo activates against you, give him a tough status card. So he is, he's kind of got the illusion of 8 health. He's really got more like 9, maybe 12 health. It really depends. If you don't handle him right away, or if he has some way to sort of come into play at a time that allows him to get an additional attack off before you have a chance to attack him, if you get stunned, suddenly he's got 2 tough status counters on him and you've got to address him. Obviously in multiplayer he's easier to handle, but in a solo gameplay perspective, if he dealt more damage, if he had 3 attack, that would put the onus on you to really do something about him immediately. But just on the surface, I think probably for balancing reasons, the fact that he basically can be so hard to just get that first bit of damage onto, that 2 attack is probably fair. But these are minions, they're going to come and go, and sometimes you don't need to be fair. But this is a back of the pack ally, or this is a back of the pack minion, so you're going to choose to put him in when you want to put him in. And I think when he does kind of jump out of the encounter deck, he's going to make an impact, and he certainly has made an impact on the games I've played where he's made his way onto the table. Next up, we've got my number 3. In terms of what the community's perspective is, and I know the community doesn't represent, the online community doesn't represent the entire community, but I feel like the Kang scenario pack just sort of gets kind of brushed under the rug. The only other one that I can think of that gets even less respect is the Wrecking Crew scenario pack, which I don't even have. I have everything else. I've never even considered getting the Wrecking Crew, and I think that comes down to the fact that you can't change it at all, so it's just kind of the same thing over and over again. But that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about Kang, Master of Time, a 1 scheme, 1 attack, elite temporal minion with 6 health. He has toughness and villainous. Villainous must have been early enough in the game at this point that they needed to spell it out. And Kang, Master of Time, gets +1 scheme, +1 attack for each obligation in your play area. I like the fact that the Kang scenario pack in general cares about obligations, and they are a thing that you probably don't think about too much because you just kind of get rid of them when the time is right, and Kang's pack itself comes with a couple extra ones that are just sort of generic obligations. And I just like the fact that we get to augment our minions, augment our villain, make the game a little bit different. Obligations are, once again, kind of a thing that's brushed under the rug, and I like the fact that he brings something to it. It does play very fair. like you might only have one obligation in front of you. So really he's just a 2/2. Now, if you happen to have two of them in front of you and you haven't dealt with him yet, suddenly he comes down, he's got toughness, he's got villainous, and he's a base of 3/3. That's going to be something to think about. I think anytime you can get toughness onto a minion that has 5 or more health is always a good thing, because that does mean that you are going to dedicate some time to getting rid of him. I think the only other thing about this minion that I might say would have been fun, although within the context of the Kang scenario, probably wouldn't have done much for you anyway, but I think if he basically moved so that he was engaged with the first player, that would be interesting, because then suddenly, yeah, you took the tough off him, but the next person has to be the one that deals with him. I mean, I guess you could deal with him regardless where he is, but like he's going to move around, and I think that would have been interesting if just and maybe that's a house rule. Elite minions are always engaged with the first player. Like, let's try that out. Let's send that over to Critical Encounters and see how that works out. Love Kang Master of Time, and wanted to put some respect on his name. Next up, we've got my number 2, and that is the Mystique minion, and this is purely for the fact that she is so difficult to deal with. She is a unique minion with star scheme, star attack, and 9 health. She is Brotherhood of Mutants and elite traded. She is toughness. Players cannot attack the villain, and her scheme is equal to the villain's scheme, and her attack is equal to the villain's attack. So she is very much just a copy of the villain. And you have to take her out because you don't know which one the villain is. So you need to take her out as soon as possible, because she is the villain for all circumstances. When an attachment gets added to the villain and it becomes stronger, she becomes stronger. And she is here solely because she is such a pain. She is so difficult to deal with. She will come down and basically ruin all your plans. You can't attack she's got guard. Essentially, she's got old school guard. Although that's not even fair. Oh, I see. Yeah, so guard already existed at this point. But the reason why she doesn't have guard is because it's not because she's engaged with you can't attack it. It's everybody can't attack the villain until Mystique's gone. Now, granted, multiplayer, is she going to be a little bit easier to take out? Yes, she is. But overall, I just enjoy the fact that she comes down, she makes a very big impression on the game, and she's just sort of built to be the biggest speed bump you can come across in a scenario pack. And I say that only because my number 1 is the biggest speed bump you can come across in the game. Like, you could lose the game because this minion came into play, and that is the Dark Phoenix. My number 1 Nemesis minion, and my number 1 elite minion right off the top. She is a 2 scheme, 2 attack, cosmic entity elite minion with 12 health. She has steady, toughness, and villainous. When Dark Phoenix schemes, place that threat on Consume the World if able, and when revealed, search the encounter deck, discard pile, and set aside area for Consume the World and reveal it. First of all, Consume the World is permanent, so I don't know what scenario you're not going to be able to put it in, like put threat onto it. There probably is something where, like, if you put something onto a side scheme, and when you defeat it, you put it into the victory. Just like Cable's probably got a card like that. But either way, Dark Phoenix is just no joke. She will change the game in ways that you're not expecting. Obviously, this is on the caveat that you're playing with Phoenix, unless you've augmented the game in some way where you're just putting Nemesis minions into Nemesis packs into the game just to be a thing. And she's a good candidate for that. Like, you don't need to worry about playing with Jean Grey at the table to have Dark Phoenix just show up and ruin the game. But she is just such a strong minion. I love her. She does all the things that I think a good Nemesis minion should do, is just come into play and really ruin your plans. And she's just a great minion in general, and definitely deserves the elite trait. My number 1, no questions asked. But that is my list. Card Shark, Armadillo, Kang, Mystique, and Dark Phoenix. Who are your favorite elite minions? There's not as many as I thought there was going to be when I went to go make this list. That made it a little bit harder too, was like, okay, some of the ones that immediately came to my mind didn't show up. And I guess, what minions do you wish had been on this list? Put them down in the comments, and just the usual, like, subscribe, comment, all helps. Thank you very much for your time, and have a great day.